Para sa mga kwento ng pagbangon at pagiging kampeon ng mga atleta, ako si Jed Eva, ang chairman ng Nowhere to Go But Up Foundation.
At para naman talakayin ang mga hamon na pagbabago sa industriya, ako naman si PG Galang, miyembro ng Nowhere to Go But Up Board of Trustees. And we are your hosts.
Mga ka-sports, samahan nyo kaming pag-usapan ang mundo ng pampalakasan. Whether it's about a historic event in sports, the changes and challenges in the industry, or just to highlight outstanding athletes, this is the show for you.
And this is where we talk about our love for the game, your one-stop shop for everything sports, athletes, and the leagues. We will get into the works and ways. We will dive into different stories for the fans, by the fans. This is TVUP, and we bring you Inside the Games. I know that our viewers are also reminiscing about their unforgettable moments in the league. Dami nun. And today, all of us are going to go back to where it all started.
The University Athletic Association of the Philippines, or UAAP, was founded in 1938 by 4 universities: the University of the Philippines, University of Santo Tomas, Far Eastern University, and National University. These schools aimed to promote camaraderie and sportsmanship through intercollegiate athletics. In 1954, the University of the East joined the league. Adamson University followed in 1970, Ateneo de Manila University joined in 1978, and De La Salle University in 1986. Over the years, the UAP grew in size and influence, extending its sports offerings and becoming a major platform for collegiate athletes in the Philippines. Today, the UAP remains one of the most prestigious sports leagues in the country, fostering intense rivalries and showcasing a wide range of athletic talents in sports like basketball, volleyball, track and field, and swimming. Malayo na talagang narating ng UAP. Born from a vision and a dream, the UAP is now fully alive. And here to bring its history to life, we will be joined by the veteran sportscaster and currently the creative director for sports programs in Signal TV, the legend himself.
The legend talaga.
The legend talaga.
Oh.
No? Sir Miko Halili.
Yes.
Welcome. Such an honor.
Hi, welcome. Naku, okay. Sit down lang.
Thank you.
Yes. You know. Hi, Miko. Nako, excited naman. Thank you for being with us on our very first show. Namano ka.
Thank you for the invitation. This is quite the honor.
Tinanggap mo kahit na kami-kami lang to.
Yeah,
Now,
ikaw. Yeah, and let's get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure we have to, our audience wants to learn so much from you. No? So, number one, no, how was the UAP during your time compared to now? No?
First of all, I want to make a disclaimer. More or less pareho lang naman tayo, Jed, no? So,
oh my God, that makes me feel so ancient.
para kasi dating, para ako yung caretaker of the history of the UAP.
Yeah, but I guess from a perspective of a broadcaster, kasi I remember watching the show, the UAP, actually, when I was much younger.
Baby pa lang ako, napapanood na kita.
But parang sobrang malayo na talagang ang UAP ngayon compared to before when they only used to broadcast so very few games on TV, no. But how is it now, no? Different.
Well, one big difference is yun nga. I think there are a lot of things we might take for granted now. Na all games are live. That wasn't the case.
Oh, then when we
before,
started. When we started, yes, it was already.
So dati noon, yun nga, either championship games lang, yan lang ang live. Minsan yung championship games pa dati, delayed pa.
Kailan yan? Sige nga, magkaamin na
no,
tayo.
so this was 80s. 1980s. So,
buhay na
so
naman.
gano'n naman kami. That's when we started watching. Sabay lang kami.
When you started watching.
Okay. Pero batang-bata pa kami noon. So yun, these are things we take for granted now. Whenever you watch games in Araneta or MOA, try to imagine nung araw, 86, 87, 88, a championship game ng UAP would be played in Rizal Memorial Coliseum. That's a 5,000
Ayun na nga yung
seater.
capacity, no?
That's a 5,000 seater. Try to imagine La Salle UP, 5,000 seats lang.
Ngayon, imposible.
That's impossible.
That's
It's impossible. Pero
magkakarali sa labas na bakit ganon.
that was the situation before. So sobrang layo na talaga. And even what we have now na we get to air junior high school basketball, women's basketball, and men's basketball in one day, all live. That was unthinkable.
Actually, this year lang yung women's and the juniors, no? This season.
Well, yung women's, we did that na last
Tama,
season. Yung junior high school is the first time.
Ang laki ng ano na.
Malaki na.
Ang ganda nun. Actually, ang naalala ko lang nung panahon na yon na tumitigil ang mundo lang only for one game. Lasal versus Ateneo.
Yeah.
That was just it. As in, all the other games were nothing. Wala nang kaalaman. Diba? So, well, that's coming from someone who is not really aware of UAAP. But now, parang kahit sino alam ang UAAP, everyone knows, or more or less the players. It's really a big leap from, what, it took how many years? A decade? Tingin mo?
Para lang balikan yung point ni Miko kanina, no? About things we take for granted. Now kasi students, no, you're used to watching all of the games in either MOA or Araneta Coliseum. Pero back in the day, only the major games, finals and maybe Lasal Ateneo, were played in Araneta.
Na may aircon.
May aircon, no?
Rizal Memorial, wala aircon
Wala
na.
aircon.
May aircon na ba ngayon?
Other than
Meron na ngayon,
Meron
but
na
dati
ngayon.
wala.
Other than that, the other UAP games would be played in Ateneo, for example, or like Rizal, no? And then these were all, of course, not televised. But now, siyempre, nakita naman natin, malayo tayo from
It's not
that
just
time.
television, live streaming.
Yeah.
Diba? I mean, yun ang and I'm grateful for that kasi parang on demand. Kung hindi mo napanood ngayon, the next day, it's available to watch the entire show, the entire game. So, parang dati, if you missed it, you missed it.
Yes, wala na replay yun.
Wala nang replay yun. Totoo yun.
Well, just to your points a while ago, now we're seeing record-breaking venue attendances at sold-out games in the UAP. But what are the things which contributed to the popularity today of the UAP, especially basketball?
I think anything historic has to be parang confluence of events. Kailangan may serendipity, may planning, may swerte. And so, I think it's
Tingin mo
really...
yun? Yung mga sa swerte?
No, it's a combination eh. You need to have like charismatic players. You need to have strong teams. So you need to have teams with good sports programs. UP is a very, very good example. You build the sports program, you build the strong team, the following happens, and then you have sold-out games. And then ang trabaho naman ng, let's say, kami as the broadcast network, we need to make sure we cover it well. You celebrate what needs to be celebrated, di ba? So, yun siya. It's really a combination of all these things to make a phenomenon happen.
Well, it helps also na talagang ang mga Pilipino lukong-luko talaga sa basketball. 'Di ba? So, nung time na yon, parang we just had to make it happen. We just had to devote our time to it. Pero as far as, kasi kami yon, pero yung how the other na hindi naman nag-aaral sa mga UAAP universities, interesado rin sila ngayon dahil nga it's now being broadcast. So, parang what made it appealable, di ba, yung may appeal sa inyo, like someone from Signal, na i-carry ang UAAP to the extent that it's being carried now, di ba? Ano yung media values?
Yeah, kasi we know...
kami lagi, we're always gonna watch.
Yeah, we know, TV coverage is essentially a business, no? What sold you on the fact that featuring the UAP would be good for broadcast, for your business?
Yeah. So ang UAP kasi this is both as a media professional and as a fan, someone who grew up watching UAP. Every year there are amazing stories. No?
Ay, totoo yan.
Diba? Every year may bagong set of heroes that inspire both students and alumni. That's why students will line up, diba? How many hours to buy a Gen Ad ticket? Because they want to watch their idols play. Alumni, ang dami natin kilala alumni, 20, 30 years nang nanonood. Why? Because every year there's something to look forward to. And kami naman sa Signal, we have stories to tell. These are fantastic stories of triumph, may heartbreak, may
controversy.
May controversy, may inspiring, di ba?
Totoo.
So, non-stop siya. Every year, it's all unpredictability. Every year, we get surprised na parang, akala natin, ito mananalo, hindi pala. So, that's why it's such a compelling platform for storytelling.
Speaking about athletes and being heroes, no, have you guys noticed, or what can you say about these athletes being followed not just by fans of their respective schools, but even fans outside of the schools? No?
They're role models. A lot of them, they understand their responsibility as popular athletes, popular people. Fans are interested in them not just because magaling sila mag-basketball or mag-volleyball, but they're interested in how they live their lives.
It's nice you mentioned that. Kasi ako, I see a difference in terms of basketball and maybe, let's say, volleyball. Sa volleyball, pansin ko, ang fans, individual-based. It's not really the teams, but for basketball, it's team-based. Diba? If you're a fan of, let's say, Ateneo or FEU, or forever kang fan ng FEU, Ateneo, or other schools, no matter yung...
no matter your school.
No matter, diba?
Yeah.
Pero pag other naman, it's more of individuals ang kanilang fina-follow. So why do you think that there's a difference in that, in terms of basketball, na talagang yung the fanaticism for that one?
Yung sa UAP volleyball, that was an interesting phenomenon kasi I mean, we grew up in a generation na parang if you told me and Jed like 20 years ago, alam nyo pare, yung volleyball sisikat yan. You'd probably say, parang hindi yata. And yet, it happened. And so, I think yung sa volleyball, one reason for that could be, female fans, dati, pag nanood sila na sports, ang iniidolong nila, yung pogi, yung magaling, na male athlete.
Okay, I'm guilty.
All of a sudden, they had so many female athletes they could look up to.
That's a good point,
and this was like, parang first time na popular and talented. So, that kind of unlocked fan base. Now,
napupuno ng PVL lang
Yes, so sa men's basketball naman, every now and then, there are super special athletes who transcend team loyalty. CJ Cancino's a good example. Pag pinakita si CJ doon, hindi lang naman UP fans ang nagwawala. And then, other athletes in the past, Jeron Teng, Chris Chu, yan yung mga parang they transcend school loyalty because they just have incredible charisma.
Charisma. So ito hindi mapagkakaila na ang UP, ang UAAP, ang pinakasikat sa Pilipinas na collegiate league. Why do you think this is? Hindi naman sa that pasintabi sa mga ibang mga collegiate leagues. But I mean in terms of talaga namang UAAP now is the top in terms of collegiate. Ano yung factors?
To that point, it's a good thing we discussed volleyball. No? Kasi we're talking about not just about basketball, but even sa volleyball, ang UAP volleyball is really contributed to the popularity of the league. So, what are your thoughts on this? No?
Again, it's a combination of several things. You have popular players becoming popular. It's organic. And then you have strong teams, and then you have rivalries. So let's say kunyari UAP now has how many rivalries? Siyempre yung Ateneo Lasal, 100-year rivalry na yan. I think Ateneo UP, it will be like this for the next 100 years.
The Battle of Katipunan.
The Battle of Katipunan na yan. For 50, 70 years from now, you'll still be fighting over patron tickets in general. No? So, and that's
Sana
why...
buhay pa kami nun.
And that's why the UAP is what it is because of compelling games, compelling stories, compelling rivalries. You have athletes who are the most followed sports personalities in the Philippines. No? So, yun siya. And then, of course, siyempre, ang responsibility namin sa Signal is to make sure we cover it, we tell the stories, di ba? We highlight the players, we celebrate the traditions and the culture.
Mamaya may tatanong about yung UAP and other collegiate leagues. No? Pero saka na yun, kasi that's a good question also to answer.
Given yung positive, yung pag-shoot up ng popularity ng UAP, no? Do you think this has had a positive effect on the development of sports in the country as a whole, or at least in terms of developing athletes and teams?
I think one positive effect has been the expanded exposure. Yun nga, dati, ang talagang televised lang, ang hina-highlight lang talaga
Finals.
was men's basketball. That's it. Because that was the culture, that was the tradition from the 30s all the way till the 80s, maybe even 90s. No? But then, there was this conscious effort na parang, and the UAP deserves a lot of credit. No? Na parang when they were negotiating for rights, they wanted, kailangan expand the coverage.
Totoo.
So pati football, di ba? Pati badminton. Now we're covering even ballroom dancing.
Are we?
We did. We covered it last season.
Ay!
We did ballroom dancing and then badminton. And now, ito nga, first time this season, junior high school basketball has live coverage. No? So, I think that's why parang UAP and Signal, we work so closely together to try and we're really trying our best na ma-feature, ma-cover as many UAP athletes from as many sports as possible.
So anong team mula kahit anong sports ang dapat abangan? Tingin mo?
Dahil nasa UP tayo. At lahat ng tao dito naka-maroon.
Sige. Gusto mo magpalit kami? Gusto ko naman yung kasi syempre, premiere episode.
Well, sige, if we focus on, let's say, men's basketball, let's just focus on that. Syempre, I mean, UP Lasal, everyone's expecting these two teams to meet again in the finals. That's the biggest expectation.
Fingers crossed.
Biggest expectation.
Siyempre, natutuwa ako sa sinasabi mo.
But UE has been a fantastic story.
I know.
Nobody expected UE
I'm very happy for
to be in the final four race. So, yan yung masaya sa UAP. You will get surprised.
Oo, kasi alam mo, di ba, prior to that, parang they were ranked like below, mga power rankings.
You have UE right there in the final four, and Ateneo is at the bottom, which is also unthinkable. Kaya napaka-exciting ng UAP.
Unthinkable. Actually, yung sa aming mga kapitbahay, sa aming mga kapitbahay, hang in there.
We've been there.
Been there, done that.
So, we've been talking a lot about the teams, no? And we talked about stories kanina. I know this is a question that only someone with their extensive exposure and experience in the league.
Parang edad.
But not my time. But after watching the UAP for so long, no? Your opinion lang, sino yung top 3 greatest UAP athletes
Ay, ang
of all
hirap.
I saw this in the script.
Napag-isipan mo na.
Napag-isipan ko na. And I will give a very, very personal and subjective answer. I will not base it on awards or...
Maghintay ka sa mga softmed mo, madaming nakaaway sa'yo.
Ang daming sports eh. But because nga I grew up watching UAP basketball.
So let's limit it.
UAP basketball. No? And my 3 choices again are deeply personal. So, my first choice would be...
Daming disclaimer bago sa
kailangan may disclaimer lagi.
Context.
Context lang.
Kasi mama, may umaway sa kanya.
The very first UAP, my first exposure to the UAP was the 86 championship.
Okay. So, kayo mukhang maganda yung
UP yan, di ba?
Kung sino sasabihin niya,
UP.
katutuwa natin.
The first idol I had, first basketball idol, UAP idol I had, was Coach Ronnie Magsano. In fact, ginaya ko yung hairstyle niya. My jersey number sa intrams was number 5. Remember PABL nung araw?
Yes.
I would watch PABL, the semi-pro league. Coach Jolly Pa was the coach. Coach Ronnie was the point guard. Yun ang favorite ko. So, Coach Ronnie was my first UP idol. So, number 1. Number 2, siyempre, I studied in the other school here in Katipunan.
Kapitbahay.
And natural, naka-brainwash na kami na you have to watch UAP, the Blue Eagles, di ba? Olsen Resela is number 2. Kasi Olsen naman is the classic underdog story, wasn't the most athletic. Had to play backup to so many other players, but fighting spirit eh. Kaya idol namin si Olsen. So that's number 2. And number 3 would be Johnny Abarientos.
Of course.
I was lucky enough na when Johnny was playing, I was in college.
Arguably the best point guard.
And so bago pa siya mag-PBA, nakapanood na namin siya, and Johnny A was just Johnny A. Sobrang galing niya talaga. And so those were the 3 players para sa akin, because of their influence on me, yan ang mga GOAT for me.
Tingin ko
For
naman,
perspective for younger viewers, no? We all talk about Kai Soto being one of those Filipino-born na pwede may potential maging NBA players. Johnny Abarientos was probably the first guard, no? First Filipino guard to really be in the conversation for potentially entering the NBA. He was that good. But those choice all point guards, lumalabas yung bias natin for
sabi naman kasi nila,
leaders,
diba?
No?
A basketball team, diba? Buhay yan if you have a very good point guard and a very good center. Pag those 2 are there, more or less, your team will survive, diba? Contender. But usually, it's the point guard kasi sila yung timon eh. But I must commend you on your choice. Hindi lang siya, tama ka, at the same time, parang colors of Benetton UP, di ba?
Ay, friends natin lahat
Ateneo.
Kasama sa trabaho ko
Mas
yan.
FEU, ha? So, magaling kang pumili. But I would agree, tama naman. Di ba? So, ikaw, Jed, sino?
Top 3 ko.
Ikaw, tatanong-tanong kayo, sige sa'yo.
Very biased ako dyan.
Sige nga.
I have also affinity for point guards. No? The first point guard I ever watched sa UAP, Dindo Pumare. He was the guard I grew up with. I'll have to put number 2, the same as you. Not in any particular order. Again, Johnny Abarrientos. He was really, he's still really the bar, no, for point guards of that, even until now.
Until now, I think.
Number 3 is something that will surprise you, given where he's from. LA Tenorio. Because he's one of those underdog stories. When you first watch him in the UAP, people didn't think he could make it to the PBA or even really play internationally, but the guy's an Iron Man, and he's really showed that
then
he
we're very
belongs
happy that he has hurdled yung health concerns
Yeah.
niya, no, and now he's back. So, ganda ng mga choices nyo, ha? Parang, oo nga naman. Wala kayong mga recent? Parang lahat naman, ano, ha? Kayo
Pag
talaga.
recent, maraming sasamang loob.
No, okay lang yun. So, mula nung tinatag ang UAAP, I'm sure ikaw madami. Sabi na nga ni Jen, madami ka nang alam. Ano yung mga favorite mong mga kwento nung nabubuo yung competitions sa UAAP? Mga interesting, yung nagpatayo ng balahibo mo, kumbaga, nung nangyari yun.
One of the fascinating things that happened in the UAP was the emergence of cheer dance. Okay? Kasi ako naalala ko pa yung pinakaunang cheer dance competition. If people watch that now, they'll be like, parang primitive to space age compared to today. But that is just a reflection of how the sport, the event has grown. UP, of course, very instrumental in making cheer dance what it is now. Yung UST versus UP dati, grabe yan. Sa Aligawi, UP Pep, di ba? I mean, that really raised the bar. And when we started seeing na yung Araneta, puno, 20,000 plus for a non-basketball event, yun talaga tataas balahibo mo because parang, whoa, this is something magical happening.
Actually, di alam ng mga tao to, but akala nila basketball ang hardest ticket to get. It is not.
It's not. No.
It is cheer dance. Cheer dance talaga ang hardest ticket to get. Una-una, 1 day only. Tapos nun yung venue hahatiin into 8.
8, yeah.
So talagang gintong-ginto.
Yes.
Gintong-ginto. That's very true.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the past of the UAP and the present. I just want to ask Biko, since you're really involved in the production now and really helping sell the league, no? Heading into the future, do you see the league expanding or adding more universities? I mean, what's the future of the UAP for you?
I don't know about that. I think that's a league decision. If number 1, meron bang gustong sumali? Number 2, will the UAP...
Ako, meron akong gustong pasalihin, ha?
Meron?
Oo, di ba?
Sino?
Hindi. Like for example, San Beda. Tagal nang umuugong nung na dapat sumali ang San Beda. University na yan. Then there's also Letran. And then there's also Mapua. So to be specific, do you think San Beda should enter UAAP?
Well, just as a disclaimer, my boss at work is the biggest patron of San Beda.
Yeah, I know.
So I will withhold my comments. No, but I think UAP naman, it really depends on how the league defines growth. Does growth mean expanding to 19? Does growth mean wanting to provide more opportunities for more athletes, diba? So that's really up to the league to decide.
But remember kasi, di ba, nagsimula ang UAAP na magkakasama lahat. NCAA lahat tayo noong 1924. Di ba, dun sa ating ano. So, noong 1924, we were all together. Nagkahiwa-hiwalay lang. So, parang, it's about time. Kung ako, I would want to not thinking of the other factors, just for the point of view of competition, of really determining who's the best.
Yeah, and evolution also.
Diba?
That it could be an opportunity for the league to evolve in such a way na may expansion. Also, it's quite flattering if you're the UAP and there are schools who are knocking on the door. Siyempre, that's flattering because may mga gustong sumali.
Meron bang application ngayon?
Yep.
So nga,
Pero
tanungin natin
maganda,
yung sa iba.
both the NC and UAP, no, they have a lot of things in common. And I think one thing that we should look at them is they are a venue for the development of sports, no, in the country. So, ikaw, Miko, what do you think? How does the UAP or how has it contributed to the development of sports in the country?
I think biggest contribution of all the school leagues is really providing a way for athletes to be known, for athletes na, yes, you know what, kasi nagpa-practice yan, wala namang fans when they practice.
Totoo. Pero ngayon, practice kahit ano,
yes, so
nanonood.
it's really an opportunity para yung mga tao lalong ma-appreciate yung pagod, yung talent, yung pinagdaanan ng mga athletes. And I think that's one of the noble purposes of a league like the UAP. Whether it's basketball, track and field,
Yeah, it's
swimming.
true. Saka ngayon, parang now that borders are now thinning Not just even in a region. Can you imagine, di ba ngayon nga, yung mga players natin, hindi na lang PBA ang tinutunguhan So, di ba yung to develop, it's not just it's not just for them, but also for the Philippines pride na rin Kasi they look at us na They look at us na as a viable, di ba, competition at nakikita nila yung mga player natin world class. So to high and it chicken and egg chicken and egg na the more you highlight it, the more the league improves. Kasi may nanonood na So we're thankful for a signal for that na parang we're given an opportunity to showcase. Kasi it's motivation di ba? It's motivation to improve dahil napapanood na sa TV, nakakaya naman na hindi mo put out there your best, di ba?
Yeah, on that note, time's getting kind of limited now. But on that note, if you have one last word to say about the UAP, Miko, what you want to say to the fans of the UAP, to the schools, to all of us?
I think siguro primarily we just want to thank. Number one, you want to thank the communities who support the UAP. That's the lifeblood of this league. Wala kang 20,000 fans if they will not show up. So I think that's the number one thing, yung gratitude na parang you just have very engaged communities, whether it's UP or Lasal or UE, and they show up and they make the games exciting.
Go UE ha.
So and syempre to the league itself, because it's really a partnership. Hand in hand talaga yan na we try our best as partners to tell the best stories para sa betterment of sports for the athletes and the schools.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Ako last, before we wrap up. What do you want changed?
What do I want changed?
Kung merong one thing that you want changed, or one thing to improve sa
Maybe I would kind of tweak the word.
Sige, not change. Baka
Maybe parang
one thing to improve.
Yes,
to
improve or something that should grow.
Yes.
Is syempre as much as possible, we really want to provide extensive coverage to as many sports as possible. Some of it, of course, is a business decision. Some of it is logistics. Some of it is just airtime. I mean, di ba, you only have like 24 hours in a day. Di ba? And sometimes these events medyo sabay-sabay. But ang maganda naman, we really have been discussing with the UAP, even scheduling, di ba? Parang ito, wag natin pagsabayin para ma-air na, mga ganyan. Those kinds of discussions. And kung kakayanin namin from a business standpoint, pipilitin talaga namin to cover as many athletes from as many sports as possible. So that would be my answer.
Susuportahan ka namin dyan. Gusto rin namin yan.
So on that note, maraming salamat, Sir Miko, for coming over and gracing our program. Thank you for such a very thoughtful and insightful discussion. So mga ka-sports, supportan natin ang UAP Season 87.
Maraming salamat din sa ating mga manonood. Sana ay marami kayo tutunan today ha. Samahan niyo muli kami sa mga susunod pang episode. Again, this is TVUP and we bring you
Inside the Games.